Dear students, and today we are going to continue the previous class questions. Okay, the cell as a basic unit of life, and today we are going to see some other types of questions you can expect from the particular unit. And the first we are going to start with the question pattern, the functions or locations. Okay, in which location the particular organelle is present or particular production is happen in the particular prokaryotic cell or eukaryotic cell, and these kinds of questions are very commonly you can expect from the particular NEET examination. Okay, so for example, see the first question. In mitochondria, the cristae, okay, cristae acts as a site for, okay, so what may be the function of cristae? That is the question. So cristae acts as the site for, in the particular location what happens? That is the question. Mitochondria, cristae acts as a site for protein synthesis, site for phosphorylation of something, breakdown of macromolecules, or oxidation reduction reaction. Okay, so there are four choices given for you. So we all know. So the question is about the mitochondria. So what is mitochondria? What may be the role of the major function of mitochondria? The mitochondria is organelle present only in the eukaryotic cells. The major function for the mitochondria is they are participating in the energy production, ATP production. They are the powerhouses of the cell. So the answer might be related with one of the energy producing function. Okay, so see the options: protein synthesis, phosphorylation, breakdown of molecules, and oxidation reduction. Okay, so while look at the choices, you may think the breakdown of molecules may produce energy. Okay, but that is not a function of the particular organelle mitochondria. Okay, that is function of some other group of enzymes. So the breakdown of molecules is the wrong choice. So the phosphorylation is also by means of some other group of enzymes. So this is also the wrong choice. So the answer might be the protein synthesis or the oxidation reduction reactions. So whenever you are thinking about the protein synthesis, you have to remember the structures called ribosomes and not a particular structure, mitochondria. So the answer is oxidation reduction reactions. So what is oxidation reduction reaction? We should recall now. Okay, so see the structure. So this is a outer membrane of a mitochondria, and the inner membrane forms the invaginated fingers like structures called cristae. So I told you what is the purpose of mitochondria. They are going to produce energy in the form of ATP. Okay, so from where they are getting they are forming the particular energy molecules? From the food we are consuming. For example, if the particular cell consumes the molecule of glucose, that glucose enters into the cycle called glycolysis. So what is glycolysis and what happens over here? Breakdown of molecule. So this is a complete organic molecule here, 6-carbon sugar molecule. So what happens over here? The breakdown of 6-carbon sugar molecules into smaller organic molecules. For example, at the end of the glycolysis you will get two 3-carbon molecule. So what happens over here? A single 6-carbon molecule break down into two 3-carbon molecules. So breakdown happens. This kind of breakdown reactions are called oxidation and reduction reactions. So what happens over here? That particular glucose molecule is being entered into the reactions called oxidation and reduction. So this is going to continue now. Okay, so from the end of the glycolysis, 3-carbon molecule is called pyruvate. So pyruvate again enters into the next cycle called Krebs cycle. From the Krebs cycle, the electrons are transferred or entered into the next cycle called electron transport chain. That is what called ETC, electron transport chain. So this electron transport chain happens in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. This is what you have to remember whenever you are thinking about a mitochondria structure. Okay, so over here there are two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. So the major role is they are going to produce the energy in the form of ATP. Okay, so So the inner membrane forms the finger-like structures called cristae. In the cristae there are so many group of enzymes. Okay, so there are so many group of proteins. We can classify them as Roman letters 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. There are 5 complexes of proteins present in the inner membrane, and those complexes involved in the ATP production. Okay, so whenever you are thinking about a mitochondria, you have to recall the major role they are going to produce the energy in the form of ATP by means of oxidation reduction reactions. While you are giving the glucose molecule as an organic compound, that organic compound is enters into the oxidation reduction reactions, and the final electrons are accepted by oxygen molecule and it will form water, and byproducts are ATP molecules. Okay, so this is what you have to remember whenever you are seeing the word mitochondria in your question. Okay, and now we are going to see the next question and see the next question. So this is another very confusing term, nucleoproteins. So nucleoproteins are synthesized in. Okay, that means the question means at which location the nucleoproteins are synthesized. The location of the synthesis of the particular or the site of synthesis of particular nucleoproteins. First you should remember what is nucleoprotein. Okay, so just see the choices: nucleoplasm, nucleolus, nuclear envelope and cytoplasm. Okay, so you may think nucleoprotein. So you may think this nucleoprotein is something related with the nucleus. So you will see the choices: nucleoplasm, nucleolus, nuclear envelope, and you may think the answer might be one among these three. Okay, because the nuclear envelope is part of the nucleus. It is a outer covering or membrane of the particular nucleus, and you may think the nuclear envelope may be the answer. Okay, so if you think the particular nuclear envelope is answer, your choice is wrong. Nucleolus. So what is nucleolus? Nucleolus is a structure present within the particular nucleus. So what is the purpose of nucleolus? They are going to involved in the synthesis of ribosomal subunits. There is no role of synthesis of any protein in the nucleolus. This is what you have to remember. Whenever you are thinking about the term nucleolus, there are no functions associated with the protein synthesis for the particular structure. It is gonna function as a synthesis of ribosomal subunits. We will come back to the nucleolus later. So for the particular question, for the nucleoprotein synthesis, nucleolus is the wrong choice. What is nucleoplasm? So nucleoplasm is a matrix present within the particular nucleus. Okay, so see the eukaryotic cell structure. Within a cell there is an organelle called the nucleus. The nucleus is being covered by nuclear membrane. So within a membrane there is a liquid matrix, semi-liquid matrix is called nucleoplasm. Okay, so you may think the nucleoplasm is the site for the synthesis of the particular nucleoproteins. Okay, so what are nucleoproteins? The proteins which contains nucleic acids and some proteins. Okay, so the combination of the nucleic acids, some proteins is called nucleoproteins, and you may think the nucleoplasm is the site for the synthesis of the particular nucleoproteins, and nucleoplasm is also the wrong choice. The answer is cytoplasm. Okay, so just remember one thing, whenever you are thinking about a protein synthesis, you have to remember only two structures. One is cytoplasm and another one is ribosomes. So another major point you have to remember over here, the ribosomes are absent from the structure's nucleus. The nucleus does not contain the structure, the particular ribosomes. Okay, so the point you have to remember over here, when there is no ribosomes within the nucleus, then there will be no synthesis of the particular proteins, the particular nucleoproteins. So the answer for the particular question, the nucleoproteins are synthesized in cytoplasm. Okay, so whenever you are thinking about, whenever you are seeing the question something about the protein synthesis, whatever may be the protein, the answer might be cytoplasm or exactly the ribosomes. Okay, so next, see the next question. Chlorophyll in chloroplast is located in. Okay, so the question asks you, in chloroplast, what is the exact location or the site for the particular chlorophyll pigments? Chlorophyll is a kind of pigment. So what is the exact site for the or location for the particular pigment in the chloroplast? Chloroplast is the organelle. Chlorophyll is a pigment. Don't confuse the terms. Chloroplast means it is a kind of plastids. It is a organelle involved in the photosynthesis, trapping the light energy and converting them into storage molecule, food. Okay, chlorophylls are pigments. They are going to do the purpose, that is the trapping the light energy. Okay, and there are so many choices over here. Grana, both grana and stroma, pyrenoid. Okay, so you have to recall the structure of the particular chloroplast, then only you can answer the particular question. And see the structure. So as we have seen in the mitochondria, it is also covered by two membranes. Okay, inner membrane and outer membrane. Okay, within a inner membrane there is a semi-liquid matrix called stroma. Within a stroma there are the piles of structure. It is being interconnected by lamellae, and these piles of structures are called thylakoid. Okay, so these thylakoid, as I told you in the previous classes, these thylakoid are made up of the piles of coins like structures, and each structure is called grana. Okay, so this is what the rough structure of any chloroplast. It is being covered by two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. The inner membrane will form the structures called thylakoid. The thylakoids are made up of the grana. Okay, the liquid matrix or semi-liquid matrix present within the particular inner membrane is called stroma. So what is the question over here? The site for the chlorophylls. Okay, site for the pigments, chlorophylls. So just remember, the chlorophylls will not be there in the matrix, will not be there in the stroma. So the answer, the choice stroma is wrong. Okay, come back to the choices. The choice stroma is wrong because it is just a liquid matrix. It will be filled with proteins and enzymes involved in the photosynthesis. The pigments are absent from the particular stroma. Okay, so the stroma is the wrong choice. Pyrenoid, don't get confused with the term pyrenoid over here. Pyrenoid is also kind of a pigment, another pigment. There is no relationship with the location of the particular chloroplast. So the pyrenoid is also a wrong answer. As I told you, there are no pigments in the stroma, there are no chlorophylls in the stroma. So the D automatically you can reject. Both the grana and the stroma is the wrong choice. Okay, so the answer must be the grana. The grana, as I told you, the coin-like, the piles of coin-like structures, they contain the particular pigments called chlorophylls. Okay, so see the next question. Ribosomes are produced in. So as I told you in the previous question, ribosomes, whenever you are thinking about the ribosomes, you have to recall their function. Ribosomes are involved in protein synthesis. Okay, so the question is, come back to the question, ribosomes are produced in. Okay, so what may be the role of mitochondria? Mitochondria are involved in energy production. Role of Golgi bodies, they are in packaging and delivery. The role of cytoplasm, there are so many functions. We will come back to the cytoplasm. The role of nucleolus, I told you in the previous question, the nucleolus are involved in the synthesis of ribosomal subunits. So now you may get confused with the choices cytoplasm and nucleolus, because you may have studied about the ribosomes. The ribosomes are, so what are ribosomes? They are the macromolecular structure. They are the combination of rRNA molecules plus proteins, almost equal proportion, or the proteins concentration or the amount of the ratio of proteins may be more than the RNA. rRNA. Okay, it may be around 40 to 60 or 50-50. So the point you have to remember over here, almost equal proportion of proteins are present in the ribosomes. Okay, so as I told you, whenever you are thinking about a protein synthesis, you have to remember the area cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the site for the protein synthesis. So you may get confused. So whenever you are seeing the term proteins, you are associating your answer with the cytoplasm. So you have two choices over here. We have eliminated mitochondria and Golgi bodies because Golgi bodies are involved in packaging and moving. Mitochondria are involved in energy production. So you can easily eliminate these two choices. Now you have remaining two choices, cytoplasm and nucleolus. Okay, so the answer might be cytoplasm or the nucleolus. Why you are getting confused with these two choices? Because cytoplasm, you need cytoplasm, you require cytoplasm to synthesize the proteins for the formation of the ribosomes. And why you are confusing with the nucleolus? Because we all know the ribosomal subunits are synthesized in the particular structure, nucleolus. So you have to choose the answer from these two choices. Okay, now I will explain how you have to choose the answer from these two choices. As I told you, the ribosomes are made up of rRNA plus proteins. So what is rRNA? It's a type of RNA synthesized within the nucleus. Okay, whenever you are thinking about a RNA synthesis, whenever you are thinking about a transcription, you have to remind that the synthesis happens, the transcription happens within the nucleus because the site, the DNA is present in the nucleus. Okay, so the DNA molecule is required for the synthesis of RNA. Okay, I will tell you the very clear picture. So DNA is a molecule. From the DNA, RNA is synthesized. From the RNA, proteins are synthesized. From the DNA to RNA, the process is called transcription. RNA to protein, the process is called translation. Okay, and you have to remember the site for the processes. DNA synthesis, that is replication. What may be the site for the replication? Whenever you are thinking about a replication, the site is the nucleus because the DNA is present within the nucleus, so the replication must be happen within the particular structure called nucleus. The next process, transcription, synthesis of RNA. So what is transcription? You are copying the information from the DNA as a RNA molecule. So the transcription process must also happen within the particular structure, nucleus. Why? Because the synthesis, the process, they require the molecule DNA, that molecule present within the particular nucleus. So the transcription also happens within the particular structure called nucleus. Okay. Translation. So what are the major molecules you require for translation? All the three RNA molecules, that is rRNA, tRNA, mRNA, and some other proteins you require for the translation process. So all the RNAs are synthesized within the nucleus, and this is the most confusing part you have to remember. This is a eukaryotic cell. All the RNAs are synthesized, that is by means of transcription, they are synthesized within the nucleus, and after the synthesis they will be transported to the cytoplasm. The point you have to remember over here, after the synthesis of RNAs, the RNAs are transported to the cytoplasm. The protein synthesis or the translation happens in the cytoplasm. As I told you in the previous question, you have to remember the point. The protein synthesis, whenever you are thinking about a synthesis of proteins, whenever you are thinking about a translation, you have to remember the cytoplasm, not the nucleus, because the molecules involved in the translation will be transported to the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, the structures ribosomes acts as a site for the protein synthesis in the cytoplasm. Okay, in the cytoplasm along with the endoplasmic reticulum or the free ribosomes, they are gonna participate in the, or they are gonna provide the site for the protein synthesis. Now again you will get confused from where these ribosomes came to the particular cytoplasm. Okay, so So that is what your question. Ribosomes are produced in cytoplasm or nucleolus. Now, what is nucleolus? The nucleolus is the structure, the condensed structure present within the particular structure, nucleus. What is the role of nucleolus? Nucleolus are involved in rRNA synthesis and assembly of ribosomal subunits. Assembly means they are going to assemble the rRNA molecules along with some proteins, and they are going to make the subunits of the ribosomes. Smaller subunit, larger subunit. Okay, so they are going to make the subunits of the ribosomes. Who is doing the particular job? The nucleolus. That means they require proteins for the making of the particular ribosomes. Now, you have to remember the another major twist over here. The proteins required for the ribosomes, the proteins required for the ribosomal subunits are synthesized in cytoplasm, and they are going back into the nucleus. They are transported back to the nucleus, and the structures of ribosomes are assembled within the nucleus in the structure called nucleolus. You got my point? This is one of the very important topic, very important question. Okay, you can expect so many questions from the particular area, because so many students, they will get confused with the transcription and the translation sites in the eukaryotic cells. In case of eukaryotic cells, you have to remember the two areas, within the nucleus and outside the nucleus. Within the nucleus means nucleoplasm, outside the nucleus means cytoplasm. Okay, so within the nucleus, replication happens, transcription happens. Outside the nucleus, translation happens. Okay, and the next point you have to remember, the ribosomal synthesis, the subunit synthesis happens within the nucleus by means of nucleolus, but the proteins required for the subunit synthesis are synthesized in the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, for the protein synthesis, the required molecules are rRNA molecules, rRNA, tRNA and mRNA molecules. All the RNAs are synthesized within the nucleus, and after the synthesis, the rRNAs are transported to the cytoplasm and they will form the protein synthesis structures called ribosomes. Okay, as I told you, the subunits are formed in the nucleolus. Those subunits will be transported to the cytoplasm and they will assemble as entire ribosomes, and those entire ribosomes will synthesize the proteins required for the particular cell. Come back to the question. Ribosomes are produced in, okay, we have eliminated two choices, mitochondria and Golgi apparatus. We have nucleolus and cytoplasm. Don't get confused with the term cytoplasm. Cytoplasms involved in protein synthesis and some other functions, but there is no role played by the assembly of or the synthesis of the ribosomal subunit. The subunits are synthesized in the structure nucleolus because the nucleolus is present within the particular structure nucleus. Okay, so these are the questions we can expect from the location based questions or the production based questions or the function based questions. We are going to see some more examples from the particular type of questions, because this is one of the major kind of type of question you can expect from the NEET.